The vast council chamber stretched around him, its towering pillars reaching for the distant ceiling. Between them hung ancient battle banners, each marking a species that had fallen before Zix's military might. With a precise motion of his forelimb, he activated the holographic display. Esteemed council members, I present my analysis of the newly discovered species, designated as humans. The projection revealed various human military installations, vehicles, and weapons, all carefully scaled to Zix's standard units. As you can see, their defensive technology remains primitive, still relying on projectile-based systems, he stated. High Counselor Vex leaned forward, his compound eyes reflecting the holographic light. No energy weapons at all, he asked. None, High Counselor, Zix confirmed. Their most advanced targeting systems rely on crude electromagnetic detection rather than proper photonic matrices. They seem completely unaware of the fundamental principles of directed energy combat. A ripple of clicking mandibles passed through the council, a traditional sign of anticipation before a victorious conquest. Zix allowed himself a brief moment of pride. His analysis was thorough, as expected from an officer of his rank. The humans' complete lack of energy weapon defenses made them perfect targets for the Zix fleet's primary arsenal. At Zix's signal, Chief Weapons Officer Zix stepped forward, his wings vibrating slightly with excitement. If I may, honored council, he said. At their approving gesture, he brought up detailed technical specifications. Our latest generation of photon convergence arrays represents the pinnacle of Zix military science. Each beam carries enough concentrated energy to overwhelm any known defense system. He highlighted various diagrams displaying energy coverage and penetration analysis. Even considering their unusual physical proportions, the humans have no countermeasures against our technology. In fact, their atmosphere will enhance beam coherence by 12.3% compared to standard combat conditions. High Counselor Vex antennae twitched thoughtfully. And you are certain their physical form presents no unexpected complications? I recall difficulties during our conquest of the Crux. Their scales proved more reflective than we originally calculated. None whatsoever, Zix assured him. If anything, their proportions make them more vulnerable. The energy dispersion radius of our weapons will affect a proportionally larger area of their bodies. The council chamber fell silent as its members exchanged thoughts through subtle shifts in posture and pheromone signals. Zix stood firm, his confidence unwavering. His entire career had led to this moment, a species ripe for conquest by the mighty Zix fleet. Finally, High Counselor Vex rose to his full ceremonial height. The council finds your analysis compelling. Supreme Commander, you have authorization to proceed with standard conquest protocols, he declared. His mandibles clicked in formal approval. Show these humans the futility of resisting the Zix Empire. Zix executed a flawless ceremonial bow, his wing membranes gleaming in the chamber's light. It shall be done, High Counselor. Within a standard rotation, the humans will understand the price of technological ignorance. Straightening with pride, he held his antennae high. The Zix fleet has never failed in its duty, he said. We shall not start now. As he marched from the council chamber, Zix allowed himself to imagine the rewards that would follow this conquest. Perhaps they would even add a new battle banner to these hallowed halls, one commemorating the day humanity learned to fear the might of Zix's military science. Behind him, Chief Weapons Officer Zix hurried to keep pace, already muttering calculations for optimal firing solutions. Their fleet awaited, primed and ready to demonstrate why the Zix Empire had ruled the stars for so long. Humanity's primitive defenses would crumble before weapons they couldn't even begin to comprehend. Scout Leader Rix considered herself a veteran of the Zix interstellar forces. She had led reconnaissance missions on dozens of worlds, faced unknown dangers, and always brought her team home safely. But nothing in her extensive training had prepared her for this. Status report, she subvocalized through the scout ship's internal communications. All teams check in, Team 1 holding position, came the first response. No sign the beast has detected us. Team 2 maintaining surveillance distance. Another scout reported, voice tight with tension. Though I strongly recommend immediate retreat to orbit, Rix watched the enormous creature through the ship's view screen. It lounged atop what intelligence suggested was a typical human dwelling unit, casually grooming itself with a tongue larger than their entire vessel. Maintain position, she ordered. We need to understand what defenses the humans employ against such monsters. The beast's ear twitched. Every scout ship immediately engaged stealth protocols. How do they survive? Team 3's leader whispered, despite the fact that the creature couldn't possibly hear them through the ship's hull. That thing could devour an entire Zix city in one bite. According to intelligence, Rix replied, double-checking her data. This is what humans classify as a house cat. They keep them as companions. Silence filled the communication channel as her teams processed this information. Team 1's leader finally managed, voice tinged with disbelief. They keep these things as pets? Affirmative. Apparently, they are considered docile. The creature chose that moment to reveal several dozen razor-sharp teeth in an expansive yawn. Docile? Someone squeaked as Team 2's ship drifted backward slightly. Those claws are bigger than our landing struts. Focus, Rix ordered. We have a mission to complete. The Supreme Commander needs to understand what we're dealing with. She pulled up their scan results. Preliminary analysis suggests the creature masses more than 36 warriors. Its natural weapons appear capable of... A red alert flashed across her console. Report, she barked. The beast. Team 3's panicked voice crackled through the comms. It's looking right at us. Rix watched in horror as the creature's pupils dilated, locking directly onto their position. Its entire body tensed, muscles coiling in preparation. Evasive action, she ordered. Emergency retreat protocols now. The scout ship scattered just as several tons of curious feline launched itself at their position. Team 2 barely avoided being swatted by a paw the size of a transport vessel. It's following us, someone screamed as the massive predator pursued, eyes gleaming with predatory intent, or worse, playfulness. Rix barely had time to issue a final command before her ship was engulfed in the shadow of the beast's descending paw. All units, initiate maximum thruster output. Get to orbit before. The channel cut out in a burst of static as the mighty Zix recon squad was overtaken by an adversary unlike any they had ever faced. A perfectly ordinary house cat with a newfound fascination for tiny, fast-moving objects. The Zix War Council chamber was unusually quiet as they reviewed Supreme Commander Pix's final report. The ancient battle standard seemed to loom larger than ever in the silence. Finally, High Counselor Vex spoke. You are certain these measurements are accurate? Unfortunately, yes. Pix's antennae remained perfectly still through sheer force of will. Our most sophisticated analysis devices confirm it, though the humans' own sensors are considerably more advanced, and their defensive capabilities are technically non-existent. Non-existent, one of the younger council members echoed in disbelief. Yes, Pix replied carefully, as they have no need to defend against our level of technology. Their civilian infrastructure alone operates at energy levels that make our military equipment seem quaint. A ripple of distress chittering passed through the council. But surely our superior military tradition was very politely not mentioned by the humans, Pix interrupted. Along with several other things they were kind enough to pretend not to notice. He brought up a series of images. This is what they classify as a personal computing device. Its power output exceeds our capital ships. He changed the display. This is a food preparation unit. It generates more energy than our planetary defense grid. Another image. And this is what they call a laser pointer. They give them to children as toys. The council chamber erupted in agitated wing buzzing. High Counselor Vex raised his forelimbs for silence. Your recommendations, Supreme Commanders? A complete reconsideration of our military doctrine, Pix said firmly, and perhaps some adjustments to our first contact protocols. specifically adding a section about checking relative scale before issuing threats. And the humans, Vex asked, how do they view us after this incident? Pix's wings twitched slightly. They had been extraordinarily diplomatic about the entire situation. Dr. Murphy has even proposed a technological exchange program, though she was very careful about how she phrased it. Exchange? One of the council members asked. What could they possibly want from us? Our miniaturization techniques. Apparently, Pix managed not to sound too pleased. They were quite impressed by our ability to create sophisticated systems at our scale. Dr. Murphy seemed particularly excited about potential applications in nanotechnology. So we maintained some dignity, at least Vex noted. As much as possible when dealing with beings who could accidentally knock over our largest city while reaching for a drink, Pix agreed. They're actually quite respectful, all things considered, even if they did have to child-proof the diplomatic meeting room. The council processed this in silence for several moments. Very well, Vex said finally. We hereby officially rescind our declaration of war. Earth shall be classified as... He paused, searching for appropriately diplomatic phrasing. Unnecessarily large, but mostly harmless. Thank you, High Counselor. Pix bowed formally. Shall I begin drafting new first contact protocols? Yes, and perhaps update our military recruitment materials. I suspect we'll need to adjust our claims about having the most advanced technology in known space. Already done, Pix assured him, though Weapons Officer ZCK had to take medical leave first for therapy about a recent existential crisis. Understandable. Vex antennae dipped sympathetically. And the official history will record that we initiated peaceful contact after careful consideration of strategic factors. Pix said smoothly. No need to mention the tactical reassessment. Excellent. Vex rose to his full height. You have served with honor under difficult circumstances. Supreme Commander, the Empire recognizes your contribution to preventing what could have been a rather embarrassing incident. Thank you, High Counselor. Pix bowed again. Though if you'll excuse me, I need to finalize the details of our technology exchange program. Dr. Murphy is particularly interested in our atmospheric stabilizers. Our ship stabilization systems? Why? Apparently, they could revolutionize human drone technology. Pix's antennae twitched slightly. I didn't have the heart to tell her we developed them just to deal with light breezes. As he left the council chambers, Pix allowed himself a small moment of satisfaction. They might not have conquered Earth, but they had managed to salvage some dignity from the situation. And if nothing else, they had learned a valuable lesson about checking size disparities before threatening war.